What's the weirdest thing people get offended by? When you say no to what they asked from you. Standing up for yourself within reason. People will forever get offended for no longer being able to take advantage of you. And they act like that's the weird part. Someone just doing their job. No. You can't use that coupon that's been expired since 1971. I can't believe how rude that cashier was. Asking to be paid back. I lend you money then suddenly I'm the asshole when I ask for it back. Others. Tastes and interests. Music. Video games. Movies. Etc. Passing them in traffic. Asking people what they think then getting upset when people tell them what they think. When you get someone's dog's gender wrong. Everyone keeps calling my black lab mix a boy. Good boy. Hey buddy. I don't care. But when I got a little fluffy white dog named Tinkles wrong at the park, a lady bit my head off. Tinkles is a boy. Alright, chill. Food subreddits can be some of the salty subs on this site. People get so worked up over images of food. Especially if that food item slightly deviates from their purest interoperation. Don't believe me? Make an English breakfast. But instead of normal toast use Texas toast. Also leave out the tomatoes. I guarantee you the comment section will be buttery drama. I'm in the US South and I ma'am and sir pretty much every stranger I come across in the wild. It's just what I've grown up with and is meant as being respectful. We get a lot of tourists and occasionally I'll ma'am a woman and she'll flip thinking I'm calling her old, and if I sir some guy they'll think it's like a sarcastic challenge. On the flip side, any locals who you don't ma'am and sir will get offended. So I'm in a pickle every tourist season. Living in constant fear of ma'ams and sirs. Hearing about their kids behaving badly. The benign happiness of others. People enjoy X. I don't enjoy X. X shouldn't exist. X fans are stupid. Rawr. Hearing something in a different language. When you don't like a certain food, movie, TV show or basically have a different opinion. People who get pissy if you say, no problem, when they thank you. Some dude, who I imagine must have a very fulfilling life, wrote a whole article about how rude it is to say, no problem, instead of, you're welcome. If you give someone a compliment out of the ordinary, most people don't expect kindness and think you are being sarcastic. Sad to see that being nice is not expected by people. Way too often people take it personally when the rules apply to them. Example. Some time back my mom was working in a clothing store. A woman comes in and asks to exchange some stuff. Cool. No problem. My mom asks to see her receipt. She shows it AAANNDDD she bought the clothing 3 years ago. The return policy was 30 days. My mom was like, oh, I'm sorry. You bought this too long ago. Our policy states yada yada. She fricking flipped, started yelling, calling her racist. The woman was black, my mom is white, until she asked to speak to the manager. People, please. Almost 100% of the time you are not exempt from any rules. And that is not the fault of the person enforcing the rules. Be reasonable. And please do not blow up on retail workers. Edit. Wow, lots of karma. Edit 2. Okay, whoa, I have an award. Thank you so much, Reddit. When people make fun of someone, then get offended when the victim says things back. When I say I don't want children, it is my decision to make and people should accept that. Dietary preferences, needs, and allergies. Disagreement. A different opinion is not hate nor confrontation. Religious choices or lack thereof. I don't care what religion someone chooses to follow. I am not religious, but I live around some devout Christians. I have a neighbor that would always talk to me, but since he found out that I am not religious, he has started to ignore me. I don't get why we still can't remain friends. I'm not running around killing, stealing or lying. My fiercely atheist ex-wife, who would get super offended if you didn't say, bless you, after she sneezed, like, what the hell? Being asked for evidence, sources on the internet. Having their name mispronounced. Get mad at your parents for naming you Chigian and wanting it pronounced Sean. Being offended when describing a death by saying the person died, or is dead, instead of passed on, or passed away. Denying it won't make them come back. Apparently asking people to wear headphones when they play music out loud. Getting ID'd for alcohol, cigarettes, whatever age-restricted item. It's a compliment. Unerotic nudity. Nipples. When you don't like the same things they like. A former coworker of mine had me try pizza from his favorite restaurant. I told him I didn't like how the cheese tasted. He got upset and said, "Okay, well, I'm never going to share food with you again." Elbows over the table. While other things at least have some implication, I legitimately can't understand why this is an issue. Oh, and hats indoors. Though I assume that started as some sort of religious thing. Being asked to wear a mask. That I don't want children. Apparently that means I've insulted them. Their kids. My parents. And all of my ancestors. Not liking an artist they like. Some people lose their mind when I say I dislike Eminem. The word black not even used in the context relating to a human. I've had so many people say, "Oh, that's racist." Like what? I was talking about crayons. When you complain about your bad parents, they act as if I insulted their own parents. Newsflash. Awful and abusive parents exist and people have a right to complain about them. Being called sir. I don't understand why people get offended when you ask their age. Also cuss words, piercings, tattoos or exotic hair colors. When you point out how someone's behavior is harmful, they have the audacity to be mad that they're the ones causing a problem. Someone else's sexual preferences. I once had an old lady come up to me when I was reading my Kindle at a bus stop and angrily tell me, "It's because of those things that all the libraries are being closed." Not what but more like how. Constantly seeking out petty things online about other people's lives to get outraged about that don't really have much, if any, impact on their lives. It's the internet, lol, calm down. Like walk away. Go make a snack or read a book. There are real things to be pissed about. Yeah, sure. But you are choosing to spend your time digging up shit to be mad about, and that just isn't healthy. I used to have a roommate that I swear was addicted to being sad about animal welfare stories, the same as some people get addicted to porn. Every day a new goddamn tragedy. We had a big yard. She had her own happy pets to love on. Plenty of games and media. A whole internet. And inevitably she'd just be in her room working herself up over a charity she had already donated to. Drove us nuts. The current trend of outrage and cancel culture reminds me of her. Proclaiming your hate for an obviously corrupt government. Gay people, if you don't like them, just mind your own business. Like, I find it very weird when people get offended on someone else's behalf. Especially when it comes to other cultures and ethnicities. As if they don't think they are capable of speaking up themselves or something. There was a Marmite advert that was parodying animal rescue neglect programs. It wasn't trying to make a point. Yet it got a lot of complaints. Here it is. Being called honey. Honestly, if an old woman or a black woman calls me honey, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. The idea of wanting other people to have a better quality of life. The other day I said that I think flu shots should be free in the United States, and my dad, a healthcare provider, was outraged. I might as well have said, dismantle the military-industrial complex to fund a mandatory socialist healthcare scheme. Instead of, I feel like the U.S. could afford to give everyone a free flu shot who wanted one. Same with things like school lunches. It feels like now if you even raise the specter of something like that, there's someone foaming at the mouth about how you're a commie or a socialist. Yawning. Had a teacher that would go crazy if you yawned in her class. I just never understood her point of view. It's like she thought yawning was a deliberate insult rather than an involuntary action of someone whose brain needs more oxygen. Honestly, this whole cultural appropriation thing is a bit weird to me. I get that it's offensive to use skin color etc. as costumes. But if you actually like an aesthetic of a different culture, why would you not use it as a garment? If we want to be an inclusive society, we should also all take part in cultural customs and make it our own. All it does is divide us more by forbidding other ethnicities to take part of cultural aesthetics. Asking someone to repeat themselves if you didn't hear them properly. Some people get so angry about this. Are you deaf? Maybe I am. Just speak up. As someone who's bi, I can't see why people get offended when someone says to a guy, "Do you have a girlfriend?" There are people who get offended by that. I get it all the time, and instead of getting offended I just correct them and tell them I have a boyfriend. Sure, it's annoying, but it's only logical to assume that a guy is heterosexual because that's more like than them being gay, bi, pan or ace. That cultural appropriation thing is really weird. I'm Mexican. So every October or November we got a lot of Americans on our sub asking if it's not offensive or insensitive if they paint their faces with skull makeup or if they make an ofrenda. It is not. We honestly don't care. Even if it is to make fun of Mexican culture. We do make fun of it ourselves too. If in your spring break party you get a zarape, a sombrero and a fake mustache while you drink tequila. Plus 98% Mexicans will say, cool, I guess. Theoretical and hypothetical scenarios. You can say, if I were to stab you with an overheated knife, would the wound cauterize itself? And people stare at you in shock as if you actually stabbed someone a moment ago and are admitting to it. It's a hypothesis for a reason. Edit. No, I did not actually say this, but thanks for proving my point. You give a hypothetical scenario and people comment like you actually said it or did it based on a technicality. Breastfeeding. It's what boobs are for. Telling other people's children they're misbehaving. Or stopping them from doing something before they get hurt. People either don't want you talking to their children, period. Or they feel like you're basically stating they can't control their kid. Just to give an example. But last week while walking my dogs, this mom had 5 children and her 3 boys who really young were chasing Canadian geese. Geese are mean bastards. And can hurt adults, let alone children. Told her boys to stop before they get hurt. And mom death stared me and seemed to take offense I had the gall to stop them from having fun. When someone else doesn't know something they just learned 5 seconds ago.